What's up, guys? It's your boy GRC. You like that? What's up? I threw that in there right off the jump for you, Alex. That's for you, Alex. With the WhatsApp right on the beginning, guys, because I think it's the last day. I think since this is a crypto show and I'm your boy GRC, I'm going to tell you breaking news. You got to get some WhatsApp NFTs. It's the last day, baby. You know, oh, wait, hold on. Is that over? Ooh, I hope that's not over. I could have just FOMO'd someone so hard. I should double check myself. Anyway, yes, tonight, 8 p.m. EST. Thank you so much, Bullish, in the chat. Guys, we're talking about potential nuclear balls full of currency and Costa sweet nectar into the future with that time lock, not time lock, with that limited time offer. What do we know about limited time offers? It creates that tension, doesn't it? Because what am I doing right now? The same thing other people are thinking. Nobody asked me to think about this stuff. Alex programmed this. And now I'm thinking, oh shit, this is the last day on this physical earth that I can do this. I better spend my money. I better spend some money real quick today. Hey, that's good for everyone who's making a project to think about, you know, how to get men, grown-ass men, to think about putting money into that contract. Why? Because there's premium. There's a premium, but not many people know about it. I just think it's so interesting. Like, it's just, golly, I cannot stop thinking about this shit. And it's what motivates me every day. It's like, am I psychotic? No, crypto's just lit. Like every day, like I'm like, am I crazy? Am I crazy for doing this? And it's like, no, this is the real deal. I'm so excited. We got Corey effing Costa in the building. He has been going hard, punching out of his weight class. He's punching in 3 different weight classes right now. He's not holding back. He's going to tell you what's going on in his life. He's going to tell you to sit down. He's got work to do. I love that attitude. He doesn't care. He says, yes, I'm in this situation, that situation. No, I got work to do. It's always like that. It's like, nope, we're moving. It's never like, poor me. You know what I mean? So that's why I like Corey Costa personally, other than his alpha on crypto. Like, I trust him as a crypto. It's a weird thing, though, trust word. It's like, I am kind of friends with Corey to a degree now, but I trust that he's doing intellectually credible work. That's kind of the crux there. It's like, I don't know him. I've never done a deal with him. But like, I'm thinking now by watching his channel, he does do interviews with other shows. He does read white papers. He does go out there to check on other things to see if this is what's up, if this is really what's cool. And Sam kind of taught me like that same ethos in general. And it's just like the kind of guys that I like to stick around with in general. Like, they're always just, it's not about them. It's about what they're doing. But anyway, let's get into this. I can't wait to talk to Sam, guys. Crypto in the morning, every single day, 11 a.m. Jim Rat Crypto. The channel's been blowing up, by the way. Like, it's been great. I've just been watching the number go up sometimes. I'm like, holy shit, this is lit.
You already know what time it is.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some hydro, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way.
D5 Pro. Yeah.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
This is what I got in here. I got some pre-workout. I didn't have any teammate this morning, so I had some pre-workout in here. This is my own pre-workout, and I'm getting stoked.
Is that something you do on a Sunday to switch it up?
Whoops, your audio cut out for a second.
Is that something you do on Sunday to switch it up, or is that just random today?
That was just random today. I just didn't make tea this morning, and I was like, oh, I want to have some caffeine today because I was getting a bit of a headache because clearly I have some type of addiction to caffeine. And I was like, I don't want a headache during the show. I also have something super controversial to talk about that probably a lot of people will disagree with, which is awesome.
I want to
right?
disagree. I love that. I love that you think that and know that because that means you've thought about it already.
Why? And we could talk about this with Corey. That's going to be an awesome conversation.
Corey's really good at talking about some of that, like the more stuff that's a little more tangly in your brain too. He kind of keeps it 100 with it when he's thinking about it, kind of like we do on the show. What is it? What's the topic?
So why would you ever stake Hex?
Oh God, I'm canceling the show.
Okay.
That's
it. Why?
This channel? No, you know what? This channel wasn't worth it anyway.
if I can create an LP position that allows you to earn double what you'd earn in Hex while still retaining your position in Hex without having any impermanent loss, right? And you're earning over 40%, over 80% a year. Wouldn't that sound more appealing? And you have liquidity? Like,
yeah, but in the world right now that we live in, just this moment, right now, you need someone with some big fat brain to be sitting there doing that because it's just the way it is. But what you're saying is, and I don't want to put any words in your mouth, some of this stuff is programmable.
You can create an LP position between Hex and Maxi and earn 7, 8, 9% a month, right? That's 80% a year at 7%.
Gosh, you're fucking telling too many people things.
I know. It's gonna fuck me over because they're gonna push me.
You're gonna fucked over, dude. But I love freedom.
Why? But why lock up your shit for 40%, 38% for 7 years where you can't touch your shit, or get double the returns and have liquidity on that? Just
okay. This is the topic. Boom, Corey. Let me punch the Crypto in the Morning thing to get him over, but this is the topic today. And guys, we didn't think about any of this beforehand. Me and Sam never talked. Kind of Sunday fun day. We kind of just let it go on Sundays a little bit because we're having Costa in here too. I want to talk about the reality of something real quick. And I think this is going to be a popular episode for a long time because I really think that some people, when Richard was thinking about, I try to think about Richard when he's making Hex, right? And he's extrapolating this information in his head. I have a feeling he thought the staking nature would be more close to 1 to 4 years because I think that's what he would have done personally by his teachings, and yes, deep down, if this all works forever, yes, of course, 15 years is the best premium, clearly. But there's a premium on being alive too, in your heart beating every single day. And it doesn't happen for everyone for 15 years at a time. I know people that pass away all the time. Stuff like this, Sam. So it's more of like, do you need money now? But then what we see happens is it puts you in a position, smart contract pressure. You have these inflated numbers on the internet, but you can't use a lot of them. Does that put people in a reverse psychological position downstream where before they were on the front end of that, Sam? Where they were getting positive affirmation from that, but then they realized that it's actually like a lack of resources and they have to, do you know what I mean a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
I hope that makes sense in a way, but I was just working through that. I'm going to switch over to Corey because he's an absolute monster.
Corey? What's good?
Corey's like, what did I just get myself into?
No. That's not a controversial topic at all, man. I'll be honest with you. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for the benevolent intro. I was trying to say thank you in the backstage, but I didn't want to distract you guys. But
That's
thank
just
you very
right
much.
from here, man. I know it's not, that's just what I feel.
Thank you very much for the generous opening. It's very kind of you. I love your guys' channel too. You guys give and drop alpha all the time. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Jim Rat Crypto and Sam Stoltz channel, please
Get it.
Please do
and
it.
Corey's too. So
Thank you.
We'll drop that in the chat there. So you guys can check out Corey's channel.
Any algorithm that I get pumped in, I'm making sure Corey Costa gets pumped in.
Thank you.
I don't give a shit. Like if this rocket ends up going or his rocket ends up going, I'm taking him with me because the honest content, I can't get enough.
Thank you.
Because I think it's rare and scarce. I'm starting to think honest content is almost the most scarce resource.
It is the most scarce resource. Being involved in crypto since 2017, I will tell you personally from experience that, and you guys know this too, and I'm sure many people in the chat know this, that thank you guys, that the majority of crypto furus they utilize people's cognitive euphoria during bull markets to utilize them as exit liquidity, and then they manipulate them in bear markets, or they disappear. Now, I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to put your channel on blast, but there's a lot of
Put it-
fools out there that I just cannot stomach.
Yeah,
Personally.
well, no, you can. Yeah,
Hey, if there's
as far as
somebody,
people's names, yeah, I don't want people to feel offended. And of course, I believe what Corey is saying is completely accurate. But he is a very kind man too. Let's get it. And we don't have to call anyone or make anyone feel uncomfortable.
No,
But
absolutely
I think
not.
in finance, it's just fair to say for all of us grown men that are sitting right here and everyone watching, there's a lot of bad sharks that don't care
Yes,
if you
there
go to
are.
zero, buddy.
There
None of them care if you go to zero, except for like the 20 guys that trick themselves into thinking morality is real.
It's a very subjective topic, and that's the issue with morality. When you look at it from either a relativist or a skeptic standpoint, which is actually comes from a Socrates theory of moral subjectivity or moral relativism versus moral skepticism, which is basically is morality existent, or is morality relative based on the culture you are in? And you look at moralistic virtue really non-existent when survival is concerned, because I think that good and evil are, when you look at morality, are more ingrained in civilization because we're able to cognitively think about good and evil. When you're thinking about your next meal, or if the lion next to you is going to eat you, you really don't have time to think about what's good and what's evil. So, and when I equate that now to more of a more modern sense, bear markets for a perfect example. When you look at bear markets, you see people's tribalistic survival instincts come into play. They become very indignant. They become very belligerent. They become vindictive. They become very angry because this survival is synonymous with the monetary bags that they hold. And I've seen this in the bear market of 2018. I've seen it in this bear market. I saw it a lot worse in 2018 because the blow off top was we didn't have a blow off top this time around, but the blow off top that we had in 2018 was much worse. And I started seeing that as well. And then the state started coming in, and it was pretty terrifying to see. But this is where we look at things from a perspective that you got to be careful out there. You got to be careful who you trust. You got to be careful who you. Am I taking? Should I shut the hell up? By the way, I keep talking.
no.
No, my
funny.
God, I'm enamored by every word you're saying.
I had a question for you.
I swear, like I was
When you started going down that rabbit hole, I was like, "Oh, this is beautiful. I'm going to enjoy this conversation."
I was sucking in info, to be quite clear. You were conscious there.
Morality. Just on the topic, we're definitely going to get into crypto. We're going to get into like.
I'm gonna cut you off in 1 minute and intro Corey, but go ahead.
Morality. To have like a conversation around things, defining the vernacular, the words that we're using, so that we're all on the same page, I think is a fruitful exercise, because that's where you get so many people butting heads, is because you say words, I say words, they're different fucking words, and we don't know what the other person's words mean, right?
Absolutely.
It's like you speaking Spanish and I'm fucking speaking English, and there's no connection there because we don't understand each other. So when you think about, say, morals or morality, what does that mean? And there's not a right or answer or wrong answer, but like, how do you think about that? Because you'd mentioned morality in Socrates, and I'm curious, like this morning, when I'm journaling about something and I have like an idea or something, I like to define what that means to me, because I know that's helpful for me. And I'm just curious to hear what your thoughts are on morality.
I think it's that natural instinct that you have, like when you go home and your family's there and your girl is there that you have swore to like protect. I mean, not swore, but like, you're kind of the man of the house. So like, that's your job at them. It's like, you'll kill for them. And I know, like, for example, if let's say my dad was at a bank right now and he was doing bank stuff, making just like we're doing kind of. Mm-hmm. And I said, that motherfucker would kill you motherfuckers for me. He would slice you all in half and put you in the garbage can, steal all your money. If I was up for grabs, for whatever reason, I'm talking if I was a kid, you know what I mean? Like, I know, because that's what a real bond is with. Like, I learned that from my father. I learned that he's a nice man in person, but he would kill you, really kill you. Like, and I'm not saying he's an aggressive guy, but you just know that he's a big man. He's scary. He's raised his voice. He gets mad. Like, so you learn like, okay, so there's these people, but when they're around me, they pretend like they want me to succeed. They got 5 kids. You're not playing me stupid. You're not playing me. If shit goes sideways, I'm the first on the chopping block. And that's okay to say out loud. You're allowed to say that there's risk.
Yes.
But you have to be honest about the tech instead of milking Richard Hart's fat penis into your mouth. You have to think about what was Richard thinking about before we started. I think what we're talking about right now is what Alex was exactly thinking before he came out with Hedron. And that is the reason we're able to talk about this right now, because we can see I only knew about staking until there was another option. And then my mind got to expand, but somebody built that. Somebody was thinking about that before, Sam. Like, like obviously you know this, but I'm just talking to the audience here. But I need to cut myself off and Sam off. And I need to say, Corey, just for the sake of Bullish's heart rate and in this channel in general, I want you to introduce yourself and let everyone just know a little bit of your backstory, a little bit about your channel, a little bit about your interaction with the Hex community, and anything that you do within the cryptocurrency community.
Should have started that.
Sure. I'm an Italian from New York, so just let me know when to shut up if I talk too much.
I'll let you go, man.
All right. So I want to first answer Sam Stoltz's question that he asked me about morality. I think morality, on the basis of what it is either a culture, an individuals, or cognitively what we believe is right and wrong in association to what's good and evil. That's my view on morality. Very simplistic answer.
You don't need some elegant answer, though, necessarily to define what it is. The simpler is easier to grasp sometimes.
Exactly. Occam's razor. The simplest answer is always usually the right one. So
tell us about yourself, because there's going to be a lot of people here who don't know about you, don't know about your story, don't know about the channel, what you talk about, etc.
Exactly. Okay. So I got into cryptocurrency in 2017, and about late April, early May 2017. And I was working at Petco for a while. I was making $9 an hour. Marco, the Hexican, I agree with you. Let's do that. I can bring David Gockstein wants to come to that. So we will link up about that.
Hey, I'm close enough for that drive too.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that's only 2.5. That's only 2:45 from me.
Yeah,
so
you're not. Yeah, exactly.
And I would love to. That would be a good time for me. I would enjoy that.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely. Let's do that. So I got into crypto in 2017, and I was working at Petco. I was making $9 an hour. I had a lemon of a car. I bought this lemon of a car from my close friend's father. I was constantly putting money into it, and I used to call this the grand curse. Every time I had $1,000, something would go wrong with my car, and I would go back to having $50 to my name. And so at the time,
I love the honesty and transparency, though. This is great. This is what real life is. And
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
so happy that you're saying, and not just the bill. Like I'm not the most genius that ever saw the blockchain. You know what I mean?
Absolutely not.
Reality. I love it.
Absolutely not. So what happened is that I was in Petco, and I had an individual come up to me who was working there. Very smart guy. We were talking about conspiracies. We were talking about Area 51. We were talking about what it really was. We were talking about, history, because that's my background, a history teacher. And he brought up that he made money in cryptocurrency. And he said specifically Bitcoin. And I said, that's awesome. And I was like, you're in Bitcoin. I was like, I've heard of that before. I played on PC games a lot. I was talking about this with Jim Mac Crypto on my channel yesterday about playing video games and being on the computer a lot. So I knew what virtual currency was because I used to play on the computer. And he started telling me about how he made 50 grand by doing absolutely nothing besides waiting. And unfortunately, what happened to him was that he moved into Midtown. And if you're not familiar with New York, it's one of the most expensive places to live. He spent $4,500 a month on a studio in Midtown, and that's on the low end. And unfortunately, he lost that money. So he started explaining that story. So he went back into Petco. He started working at Petco, and he made another investment in a cryptocurrency. And I don't know if many of you know this cryptocurrency. It's an old cryptocurrency. It's called Gollum. It's actually in the top 200. It's a cloud computing cryptocurrency.
Interesting. Anyone in the chat that's heard of Gollum, put a bicep just so I can get a gauge on how many people know that. It's interesting because I never heard that one.
Yeah, it's a very old cryptocurrency, and he made a substantial amount of money off of that. So then I go into then 2 weeks pass, and he's not at the job anymore, and I start getting into cryptocurrency. I start getting very familiarized with it, and I'm like, where the hell is Dan? And they're like, oh, he's fired. So I texted him, and I was like, Dan, you seem like such a nice guy. Like, why'd you get fired? What'd you do? He's like, you really want to know? I was like, I was using the money that I made from cryptocurrency to pay for veterans' dog food when they come in. So if they didn't have the money, I paid for it out of my own pocket. So they fired me. And I'm like, so they fired me. I'm like, okay. So we stayed in contact, and as I was getting involved in cryptocurrency in May, I got into a major fight with my uncle. We were in a major fight over, I thought that he screwed my father over out of money after my grandmother died, and he sold the house. We sold the house. We were supposed to go 3 ways between my father, his 2 other brothers, and we had a huge fight on the phone. And then I'm like, bro, I'm putting $700 in cryptocurrency to try to make the money back that they're making accusations that you stole. And then the conversation completely changed. And he was like, you're in cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin. I'm like, yes. He's like, listen, I'm not. He's like, I didn't do that. And we started talking about it, and I knew that he didn't end up stealing the money. He's like, but listen, I'm going to try to give you, a chance to make some money for yourself. So he sent me a check for $2,000 to invest. So I'm still at Petco at this time. So he gave me $2,000. At the same time, I'm having this other guy, Dan.
An angel from the gods.
Yeah. So
you're just a nice guy. I mean, like, wow, what a creative way to get a man inspired.
Yeah, exactly. So my friend Dan, who was fired at the time, was now like mentoring me and telling me how to send stuff from one exchange to another, and what a cryptocurrency is, what API keys are, what smart contracts are, what peer-to-peer networks are, stuff like that. And this was my aha moment. It was actually very similar to Fashion Coder's aha moment. We both did the same thing, basically. So I put $2,000 in, and at this time also, for the first time, I was able to save money. So at this time, I had about $9,000 to my name, plus that $2,000. And this was from working Petco part-time. It goes to show you how frugal I am. I still live at home after cashing out in May 2021. I sleep on a twin-size bed at 260 pounds, for Christ's sake. So I put the $2,000 in when Ethereum was $80. And 4 days later, now, if you use Coinbase, you're well acquainted with the idea that if you buy a cryptocurrency with your bank account, you are at the mercy of the market. So if you bought Ethereum at $100 and you put $2,000 in, if it goes down to $1, you're getting the Ethereum at the amount that you got, that it's at when you get that money. So what happened was that $2,000, Ethereum doubled. It went from 80.
So you're talking about just for my own clarity on that.
Sure.
You're talking about the clearing, right? So if you're putting in a credit card and it takes 24 hours to clear, but during that 24-hour period of time, it was $100 when you're like, hey, I'm going to buy 100 shares of this thing, which would be $1,000, or 20 shares of this thing, or whatever the case is. Then you wait 24 hours for that shit to clear, and now the price is $2. You're like, oh shit, I bought 20 shares and now it's $2, and I have $26 versus the $2,000 I just had.
Yes.
Okay. So you purchase this and you put the $2,000 in, and then that's how I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. So it was $80, and then 3 days later, I go to Six Flags with a few friends in Jersey, and as I'm coming home at night, the Ethereum goes to $140. So for a guy like me, who was working 25 hours a week while going to college full time, making $300 a week, seeing a portfolio go from $2,000 to about $3,600 in 3 days, I was like, wow, okay.
Well, you extrapolated. Well, for everyone in the audience, this is important because people don't actually do calculations properly in their mind, but Corey Costa does. So, so in reality, if you work for 10 years and make a fuck ton of money, but you have to spend all that exact amount of money to do the things that you're doing, he was basically saying, I'm doing 150 things in this one moment, and I have a net positive of 0 for the next 10 years. And that's what I'm signing up for. This dude just put money online, made all my problems go away with 0 time and effort. And it's just premium. It's just no overhead. When this whole entire world has told me to take on nothing but overhead for the next fucking 15 years. And you were in the middle of it and it woke you up. You were almost like, there's abundance out there and I'm playing stupid games.
Exactly. And so what ended up happening was that I was like, this is the real deal. This is something that I can actually make money off of by doing nothing. Thank you, fashion, by the way. Doing absolutely nothing besides, sitting on my ass and learning about this learning about these different cryptocurrencies. So for 6 months, I had an individual, that guy Dan, teach me about how to send money from exchange, how to sign up and stuff like that. And I went into so many different projects, so many, at least 100. And at least 100, not even kidding you. So
that's balls deep.
Yeah. So what happens is that the $9,000 that I had, my friend says to me, he's like, you know what, Corey, you're not really about cryptocurrency. You only put your uncle's money in. He's like, you're a bullshit artist. He was like, you're putting you didn't do anything. You don't have any skin in the game.
He called your bluff, and you're like,
he did.
Damn.
He did.
You're like almost intellectual bluff. You're like, do I really believe in this? Do I really?
He did. He did.
But that was a great. So many guys in your story that kind of poked at you a little bit.
Yes,
put you in the right direction.
Exactly.
So interesting.
So 2 weeks later, $9,000 turned into $300 again. My mom's like, Corey, what the hell are you doing? You had $10,000 to your name. Why do you have $10,000? I'm like, well.
So you put it. So you put in your 9,000 crashes. Now it's worth $300.
I put in no. So I put in my $9,000 plus the $2,000, and now I have $300 total in my bank.
And you have to face your mother.
Yes.
And you're just like, damn it, mother, I failed this one.
So how much is the crypto worth during this time, or does she not know about it?
Sure. No. This is where it gets fun. So my friend Dan moves to Ohio. I never speak. I hear one thing about him before he moves. He moves to Ohio and builds a house with the money he made from Gollum. He built a house for his homeless cousins. Very noble man, and I lost contact with him. And for me, so I went into a couple of coins that I'm sure many of you in here will know about. And this is the first time I see you typing. This is the first time I've actually shared this entire story.
This is an incredible story, and I think you're just a great storyteller as well.
I was thinking the same thing, Corey. We've talked to a lot of people, but doing this for 200 days, and your ability to tell your story is at the top tier of like all the people that we've talked to.
But do you see why? And I want Corey to know this because like me and Corey have stuff in common, stuff not in common. It had never had anything to do with that. I could see right into his soul when he was speaking. Because he was being 100% transparent in the moment.
You gotta be.
He was being 100. And he knew because I put that pressure on myself, and I know what it feels like. It's a lot of pressure sometimes. Sometimes I want to be a fucking bluff artist, dude. You don't think I could flex my muscles and be cute for y'all and bullshit fluff you? But no, we're talking about hedron. We're talking about premium. I'm trying to take risks with my thought.
Exactly.
Really think about what I'm thinking about, not what someone else is fucking milking into my mouth. And I will never bow down to that. And I could smell it all over you. Like I could smell it. And we all have problems and blind spots, but it wasn't about that. When you're on camera, when you're working, you were being honest. And I could feel it. And it's almost like a part of me. And it's like, I want to find more of people. And it's like a radar. Sam sees me all the time. I'm going around looking. What am I looking for? I don't even know. I'm like a scout agent, but for friendship. Like, it's serious because I just want to make connections with guys that are thinking the same way I am. because I'm like, man, it's a really powerful way to feel. And you're not afraid to make a mistake and look your mother in the face and say, I messed this one up.
Yeah, and what makes it even worse is
and then
that
keep your story going. Keep your story
no,
going.
this makes it even worse. And it's funny you say you looking your mother in the face. So this is what happens. So this was around September, October. Market starts going down. You get ready for the Bitcoin Cash fork, and this is right before that really amazing uptrend. So this at the time, my portfolio is around $10,000, not really moving sideways. So November comes, and late October, November comes, and my friend and I find this coin called Bitcoins, which became Ethos, which is now Voyager, which Voyager just went bankrupt. So Bitcoins was supposed to be the universal wallet. You're supposed to be able to put all your coins into your mobile phone, learn about every single cryptocurrency. It was a very interesting project at the time because nothing was created like that. So we had about 8,000 of these coins apiece. And I was also a very, very big person in Substratum, another coin that was supposed to break down the firewall of China. And so I had about 8,000 8,000 coins of Bitcoins at the time, and then it rebranded to Ethos. And I had Substratum, and I had about 20,000 of them. I had a little bit of Quant Stamp at the time, but my major portfolio was Bitcoins and Substratum. So yes, I know, and that's Superman loved that coin Ethos. That's where I got it from, actually. I was in his mastermind group. So before he blocked me, and now he's blocked me on Twitter. So fast forward to December, when the market is really getting overheated. My portfolio goes from 10,000 to 20,000 to 30,000 to 40,000 to 50,000 to 60,000. Every week it's 10K, 70,000. And then it stops. I'm at my dad's house. I'm watching Dunkirk with him, and my portfolio is at 72,000. I go to take a piss during the movie, and yeah, a great guy, says nobody. I agree. So 72.
Well, once he said he blocked you, I knew right away he's a scam. I mean, you're just trying to be honest with the guy, probably.
So $72,000 after I come back and take a pee, because someone did a video in South Korea, and at this time, like, YouTubers had much more power over cryptocurrency prices than they do now. Like, the authority that YouTubers had back in 2017 over one cryptocurrency's price was insane. So
just really it was just a light market. Like there was
no information.
No,
activity. Yeah.
There was very little
both
information.
Of those things. Both of them.
And
you typed something into the YouTube algorithm and you said this is for one crypto, and you typed that in. There was only going to be that coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Marco says it best. They had big time power. Like, these guys, if you had 150K subs, 200K subs, and you promoted a mid cap cryptocurrency, like John McAfee used to do it. He used to literally people would follow him for day trades to the T. He would type something on Twitter, and the second he typed something on Twitter, it would skyrocket. So Ethos at the time, Bitcoins at the time, didn't rebrand yet. I'm watching Dunkirk, and I look at my portfolio. I'm like, you know what? Let's see if it's not sideways. I click. $72,000 turns into $120,000 in 5 minutes, and I'm like ecstatic. I give a phone call to my friend Frank, who got into crypto with me, and my friend Joe at the time, who got into crypto with me. And we didn't know anything about markets. We didn't know anything that it was going to go back down. So we didn't cash out. So what happened was, in 2018, if many of you in here remember, in late February, there was a crash, a massive crash. So I saw my portfolio go down from 120,000 to around 60. Now, I was complacent. I didn't think anything of it. And then I start going to 30,000.
But you see that you started to learn, though, that 50% drop did not ruin your life. You started to see that it was a game and that you just needed to stay put a little bit longer and learn what was going on, because you were kind of like watching Dunkirk, right? Like you were It's not like you were like, you had a job, you were doing shit, but you were saying, hold on, before I shit my pants over 60 grand, my life's not over. 60 grand, hold on. Some people would say, you said I bought a piece of shit car and was working at Petco. 60 grand's a lot, but you weren't thinking about you at the moment. You were thinking about what was going on. So you detached yourself from it. I love
But
that.
it gets worse.
Yeah, but keep going because you probably learned about not taking profits too.
But it gets worse. Yes. So, okay.
I'd use the bathroom, but I can hear you.
So, okay. So you have this small bear rally trend now. At the moment, I'm at $20,000 in March and April. And at this time, there was a small uptrend because of two things. One, Bitcoin was declared halal in the Muslim world, which, if you don't know what that means, halal means permitted in the Muslim world. So it was declared halal. Then you had in May of 2018, I forgot what committee it was. It was a committee in the United States government that said basically, instead of it being negative, which everyone thought it was going to be, people came out and said, this is a positive. We want to embrace this technology. We want to see this technology work. So Bitcoin went up to 10K. My portfolio went up to 55,000. Still didn't sell. So started seeing it go back down. And then late 2018, I started mid to late 2018. I started simultaneously working in this space. And then also at the same time, my portfolio collapsed and it went down to like 10,000. And at its lowest in 2019, it was 1,300. So I started working. And at the same time, I went into like this agoraphobic shock. So I have a predisposition for anxiety and panic. It runs in my family. So I couldn't leave the house. The only time I was able to leave the house was because of, was for school. Somehow I was able to graduate with a perfect score. Don't ask me how during this time. I gained like 50 pounds in under 3 months. I didn't take exercising seriously anymore. And I was completely depressed and had to go on basically like borderline disability because of the mental illness that happened. So after that happens, 2018 comes around and I'm like now a gambling addict. I got $150 to my name and I'm literally investing everything I have into it every week. So I'm like, I have to find a way to invest in this market without investing in this market. So what I did is I found a job in this market. I was a Telegram administrator and I was Telegram administrator and I was a writer. And I used what I learned how to write in college. So I was a writer. So I was making $700 a month doing that. And I was using that money to invest in cryptocurrency. So then I wrote an article about another cryptocurrency called Icon, a very popular cryptocurrency in 2017, late 2017, 2018. If many of you remember, Icon was very popular. And I became one of their main community ambassadors. And I became one of their main validators. So I literally started making money off of that. And I was also working for this other company. So this is around 2019. And this is when I started getting into the YouTube game. I was like, you know what? I have to start making a YouTube channel because I want to bring this community together. And the only way to do that, it seems like, is YouTube. So I started YouTube in 2019. Very small channel. Didn't have much subscribers at all. So I started promoting so much for this protocol called Icon. And I was literally interviewing. If you go on my channel, I've interviewed some of the most prominent people in the space. CryptoLark, interviewed him. Ian Bellina, interviewed him. Joe Blackburn, if you're on Facebook, the founder of Crypto Coin Trader, which is the largest Facebook crypto group, if it's still around, I'm not on Facebook anymore, interviewed him. Ian Bellina, interviewed him. The founder of Solana, Anton, interviewed him. Blockchain Brad, interviewed him. I've interviewed all these guys. So I've made connections in this space while I was working with Icon. That's how I actually met David Gokhshtein. He was looking for someone to interview about Icon, and I was the one to basically be the face, and I interviewed him. That's how I became friends with David. And he's also a New Yorker. So fast forward to 2020, and I started actually getting back on my feet, got my bachelor's, getting ready to go into my master's program. And now I'm making a decent income off of cryptocurrency from the 2 jobs that I'm working in, 3 jobs. So 2020 comes around. I start stacking, from working in cryptocurrency. And then 2021 rolls around and the bull market starts. And I'm working for a cryptocurrency company called Icon now. I was working for a company called Charter up until mid to late 2020. And then I started getting into a cryptocurrency called Argo, which I still work for. So now, and I was also working for Gokhshtein Media, which is David Gokhshtein's media company. So 2021 rolls around, bull market starts. 10 grand turns into 50 grand, turns into whatever it was. So I call my friend up, and this is May. This was 5 days before the first crash in this bull market, when Bitcoin went down to 28K in May. So I called up my friend, and I'm like, listen, like, my favorite quote in this space, and I forgot who it was from. I forgot who it was from. It was on a guy on Twitter. He said, "You learn 2 things in cryptocurrency in your first first 2 bull cycles. The first bull cycle is to learn. The second one is to capitalize." So, moral of the story: Corey had 20 jobs. Yes, he did, and I was student teaching, and I was somehow able to graduate at the top of my class. Don't know how I did it.
And you decided as a man to stay emotionally fit and not be a poor little sour bitch. Like, and I'm not saying you didn't have your worst moments like
Oh no,
everyone.
it was bad.
No, I know, but I'm saying you decided, it sounds like, at some point, to keep a smile on your face, even though life sucked a big fat load of shit.
Yes, it did.
And but you decided, you said, this is not a crybaby game. Nobody's going to save Corey Costa.
No, absolutely not. So,
And you knew this. And so that's why this is a great story too, guys, because remember, this is a man that was fighting at the time. He was fighting for one, what he believed in, and 2, to stay out of the mindset of everyone who's poor. Like, he was like trying not to get stuck in this loop. And I'm just talking out of my ass from the shit that I see, is like,
no, you're right.
You were trying to not waste your entire life, and you were very concerned about that as well.
You're right. And at the same time, at that time, my father got kicked out of his apartment. He got kicked out of his apartment. And he was homeless for around 4 months. And also at the same time, he was homeless for 4 months. And I never came from a family of wealth. So I was like, I have to do this. So 2021 rolls around.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah. So my dad, I'm trying to graduate college. I'm student teaching at the same time while I'm working. And student teaching, you're working 40 hours a week, plus doing school work, plus doing work in cryptocurrency, and then trying to manage a portfolio and panic disorder. It was not fun. So
I can imagine. It sounds exhausting.
it was horrible. It was horrible.
Sam, you go through similar stuff in your life, as far as like your times where you were working overtime with nobody thanking you. Certainly,
I was working 3 jobs.
I want to know about give a little back to the people because not everyone. There's 130 in here now. Sam, as you're watching this story, you're a bit older than us, and you've gone through a lot of these trials. I've talked to Sam intimately. What do you think about some of this, and reflect on your life as you went up? Some of those thankless moments, where you were just trying to figure out what was going on. How are you interpreting some of this info?
This is a beautiful story, Corey. First of all,
Thank you.
Second of all, as you're telling this story, there's so many parallels that I can draw to me and my journey, because I was in grad school and working 3 jobs and trying to figure shit out. And then also on the front of investing, I knew investing was the solution. I knew that was the answer. But if you don't invest and you're not familiar with investing, and that doesn't just mean crypto, it doesn't mean stocks necessarily.
Absolutely.
You got to invest into yourself. You got to invest
you
into
buy
other
3
people.
houses, you're going to be in good shape.
You got to invest into other people. And investing in businesses. You don't have to do all these things, but people think of investing as crypto, right? Which it is, and it should be for the vast majority of people watching. But you got to invest in so many different ways, and you don't know what the F you're doing. And I kept fucking up shit, and I've probably mentioned this when we did our interview 3 or 4, 5, 6 months ago.
Yes, that was a while back. Yeah.
Tesla. I missed, like you were in the market enough to see your portfolio go up and then come back down. And you're like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to fuck this up again when I see the next bull market.
Yep.
I was too dense to even get into the market with Tesla. Otherwise, it'd be multimillionaire today. And I saw it way before everybody else was going on. And I didn't even fucking put money into
The gods were waiting to put you on the real spaceship.
Yeah.
The Hedron moon ship.
And it's an admirable story, and the reason why is because I can relate to it. Because come 2021, like I was so exhausted, and I'm like, okay, I call my friend up, and this is May at this time, and I'm like, listen, bro, I'm like, this market's gonna, and I just had a hunch, no trading, no TA, none of that, because I don't know how to trade, I don't know anything about TA, I just don't do it. So I called him.
Good man.
Yeah, so I called him up. I'm like, listen, Frank. I'm like, bro, we either are gonna do one thing. We're either gonna sell now, or we're gonna do the same exact thing we did in 2018 and lose everything. I remember leaving my dad's house because at this time my dad found a girlfriend, was able to find a nice apartment, got back on his feet, and so I was like, I'm going home. I'm going to cash out. You want to stay in this market? You want to watch it collapse soon? So be it. So he says to me, he says, I'll think about it. And on my way home, because I'm about 30 minutes away from my house, he calls me and says, you know what, Corey, you're right. He's like, we have to get out of this. I'm like, good. We're going to do this together. So, and this is where it gets terrifying.
This is incredibly
Then I promise
how you can turn these into like connections within people. Like you turn these investments into like ways to like bond with other humans and like share your understanding.
Wow.
You know what I mean, Sam? Mm-hmm. It's like he's using other people with him. Like it's like he had a very strong hunch through years of whatever the pain he went through. Mm-hmm. He was trying to share it with this guy in an intimate moment where he could help. Truthfully, in that moment, you were trying to be helpful.
He's one of my best friends, and he got into crypto with me, and I was like, I can't not tell him this.
And you were like, let's get out of this hellhole, and we're gonna make this is more money than we've ever had on our feet ever.
That's exactly what happened. So I went home, and this is the scariest part, and I promise I'll shut the hell up after. So I go home. He says to me, yep, I'm selling. I didn't hold Cardano. He sold his Cardano. He got in at 3.5 cents, sold at $2. I got into Icon at 10 cents and sold at $2.04, something around there. Now, here's the thing. Icon at the time was not on any single exchange that U.S. customers could use, including KuCoin. So I had to use a exchange called SimpleSwap. So the way these exchanges work is that you send your coins to their address. That bot exchanges the coins for you to the coin that you want, and then they send that coin to the other address. So I make a couple of transactions. My first transaction goes through fine. Second transaction goes through fine. Third transaction, it was not simple, Ross. It was not. And I'll explain why. Third transaction goes through fine. Okay. At this amount of time, I cashed out.
Let me guess, Ross Heck. Let me guess. It wasn't that simple.
No, it's not.
You're a great storyteller, so you're trying to tell people like the point here is that there's a little impending doom here. So continue.
Terrifying doom. So I promise it's going to get bad. So half of my cash out is now cashed out. So I'm happy about that. So I don't want to get into numbers, but for a 27-year-old kid, it was a fuck ton of money. The second half, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna send it all in 5 different transactions. No way. I don't need to send 10K here, 10K here, 20K here. You know what? I'm just gonna send the whole thing. I send the whole thing. I get a message from the exchange saying, "Where did you get this money from? And why are you using our exchange? We are withholding these funds for further investigation into you." So I don't mind sharing. It was about $104,000. So what happens is I get a message and they say, we are holding your funds and we are not giving you your funds until you prove to us that this 100 grand is yours. So I go rummaging through my other through my jobs, through what they promised me and through what they promised me in my funds in my job and in my job contract. I'm like, okay, here's proof that this guy has sent me this much money in the last 6 months, and this is how much money I've been sent in this 6 months. So 3 hours go by and I don't get a response. I'm like, all right, I'm either gonna get arrested, I'm gonna get the FBI calling me, I'm gonna lose 100 grand, and I'm just gonna cash out what I made, and I'm torn here emotionally. I'm like, okay, I cashed out half.
Now you think you're gonna get arrested, which is another part of it. You're like, fuck, am I gonna get arrested?
And like I have half cashed out, so I'm like in a whirlwind of emotion. I'm like, I'm happy about this, that I cashed out half, but I'm not happy that half of it is withheld. I have now an exchange basically asking me about what the hell is going on, where my money comes from. So there is a happy ending. 3 hours after those 3 hours, I get a message saying, listen, you've given us enough proof, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to send that money, but this address is blacklisted from our exchange. You will never be able to use it again. I'm like, go ahead, fine, blacklisted. I don't want to deal with you guys again. That's fine.
They're doing a big favor to you, really, by fucking blacklisting you, because it's
middleman D, exactly. Happy ending.
They're broke, is what it is they actually have no liquidity, and they're just playing a scam on people.
Yep.
They have no liquidity. They're waiting for guys like you to do small transactions they can handle to milk you, and then the second you send a big one, they're going to say, hold up the phone. We don't actually have any money.
And then I cashed out all of it the day after I graduated college. So happy ending. I graduated May 17th of 2021. Graduated the day after, which was really good for me because then I cashed out and they're like, well, how the hell do you have all? How are you only paying this amount of student loans? Well, I only had $700 to my name up until the day after I graduated. So
what an incredible story, Corey. This is awesome. Yes, holding people's attention and the ability to tell your story in a fascinating, interesting way. Even with me and GRC interrupting you every couple minutes.
No, it's okay. It's the only time I've ever shared my entire story.
You should write your stories down. You're a good storyteller, man.
Thank you. That's the first time I've ever shared it.
Yep, and that's an amazing story, and it's a real story, and it took you 10 years to have that story to be true. And there's nothing in there that's fake. There's nothing in there that's not true. There's nothing in there that's not transparent. And that's why it's a great story. Everyone else's stories, it's filled with all these fuzzy little spots back there where I can't really, what was going on with you back then? Oh, no, I don't really talk about back then. Back when I wasn't perfect. Back when I didn't have I don't talk about the times when shit doesn't stink. All these guys wearing suits pretending like their shit doesn't stink. It's I can see right fucking through it. Right fucking through it. You haven't seen nothing in your life. And I'm just saying because I want more guys to just be transparent about where they're at. Like Sam is the guy he is, literally, because he's fucking been through a fuck ton. And it's same here. It's not because like I was a pussy 10 years ago, and then I went through hell, and I just accepted it. Like I just instead of being like fuck it, I'm just gonna be a pussy my whole life. I was like fuck it, I'm just gonna step up my whole life.
Exactly.
Basically, what I did, I was just like you were saying. I think beforehand, or maybe it was during the show, but like you have that one premium as a man. You're like, am I gonna go all the way, or am I going? Because there is no middle ground in this world. You'll get stomped alive.
It's
middle ground.
It's true. And like people don't realize that is that like you need to be very, very, especially in crypto, it teaches you vigilance. It teaches you necessary paranoia. It teaches you leadership. And that's also something I craved leadership. I've always wanted leadership since I was young, and that's something I connected with you with on our stream yesterday. You said you wanted leadership, so and I figured I'd bring it up today on your show. So at the time that I sold, actually this isn't bad, but this is a continue. This is chapter. This is the last chapter. So I sold, and the community who I sold from despised me because of it. So at this time, I am thinking to myself, I'm losing all my YouTube subscribers. I didn't have many to begin with, but my subscriber count, even from interviewing CryptoLark, the founder of Solana, Ian Bellina, the founder of Band Protocol, all these different protocols, and interviewing all these individuals, I only had 600 subs. So I'm starting to see my subscriber count go down to 404, about 470 to 480. I'm like, you know what? I don't know what to do. So I have Illiquid Trades, Harry on Twitter, who I follow, bring up Pulse Chain. And I'm like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to learn about Pulse Chain. And I realized it was synergistically related to Hex. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do one more interview. And I'm going to, because I love this project, this community seems very interesting to be a part of. So I'm going to do one more video. So I interviewed someone, God rest his soul, unfortunately killed himself. First person I interviewed in Pulse Chain. He hits me up. We do a video. More views than any other project I've ever interviewed. 4,000, almost 4,000 views in a week. And my subscriber counts goes from 480 to around 690 in fucking 3 days. And I'm like, okay, this is a unique community. I'm here to stay. And that leads me to where I am today doing all these interviews. That's my story.
Hey, that's what a great story, dude. Like,
Dude, that was incredible. Dude,
And you hear it here first. I've never shared the whole thing.
Dude, this will be one that, and I knew this was going to be a special episode when we started talking, guys, because it's just Corey keeps it real, and I just recognized it, and I wanted him to come on. I wanted him to have a moment where, Sunday Fun Day, we could sit back a little bit and just listen to the young man. And I'm a young man too. When I say that, it's just inspiring. It's inspiring. I'm going through it. Like I'm in the middle of that. We're both in the middle of this shit. Like we're all in the middle of this shit. It's just like this is just like getting work done in your working age. You know what I mean? Like it's like, are we going to sink? Or are we going to swim? It's like just because this guy has more money or that guy hasn't more money. I've seen lots of guys with lots of money sink.
Yep.
On a little bit of a pivot here, I want to hear your thoughts before we wrap things up here, because we previewed it at the beginning. Saying something controversial like why actually stake your Hex when you can maintain liquidity, you can double your return. So instead of earning 40% for locking your shit up for 7 years, you can earn 80% on an annualized basis. So you can double your returns, and you don't have to be concerned about impermanent loss. Why actually go through and lock your shit up, right? By going through and staking, not staking. You can basically put it into a liquidity pool. Yeah, LP for Hex and Maxi. Go and I want to hear your thoughts on this because this is controversy relative to other people.
I have a point on this, but I want you to go first.
You want to go first, Jim? I don't mind.
Well, mine will probably be quicker. I think there's a lot of people that are dangerously upset with you for even speaking these words out loud. And I want everyone to understand me loud and clearly, because those people, they're not a big concern of mine. And they don't want me to succeed. And they will not help this channel. And I know who those people are by name. So you don't have to worry about, I understand which team I'm on. I understand what I stand for. And I understand I'm a fucking genius. So I know what you fucking geniuses are thinking about that have more money than me. You know what I mean? I know what you're doing. You're doing backdoor deals, period. I know who you are, period. I'm looking at you too. And I'm a freedom fighter. And I know people are making backdoor deals, handshake deals. Sam, Corey, I'm just getting real for a second.
It's the truth.
I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to make sure I'm not pushing any buttons here. But
you're not pushing nobody's buttons.
This is finance. And don't you pretend like it's fucking not.
I agree with you,
don't
bro.
Pretend you won't handshake deals behind my back. And don't pretend like you give a fuck about the community, because I want some people to start being real about finance, like Sam is. Sam would just be real about it and go have a coffee because he doesn't care about all the pretending like his ego and this whole morality fucking bullshit that everyone wants to pretend like they're helping everyone else. I just want to say I want to push for the truth. And Hedron, in my opinion, has opened my mind to the extent where I'm starting to realize now that some of this staking stuff is a bit of cognitive dissonance. And it is a bit of like that was what was in front of us at the time, but it's also a part of tech evolving, and it's a good thing. And I think Alex is doing an incredible job to make it a double feedback loop, but it's giving guys like us dangerous power.
You dangerous,
Sam. Oh, I'm done.
I'm excited.
Oh,
I
want you guys to go.
No. You beat me to it. And I wanted to bring up the importance of evolution. Technologies evolve. Things innovate. Things create more ability for lucrativity than there was before. Now, if you see on my channel, I really don't talk about hex staking often. If you really get down to the nitty gritty, I really don't talk about, I don't necessitate people or try to tell people to stake hex. Do I tell people that I'm in hex? Yeah, I do. Do I tell people that I love having a bag of hex? Yeah, I do. But do I try to give people that investment prospect? No. I mean, I've talked to Orca about my bags being liquid. I've talked to Orca about that. I think the problem with cryptocurrency is because in all communities, things get a little bit too tribal. And you brought up cognitive dissonance. And Nerd Girl brought this up on Twitter. She said, I'm crucified a lot by different crypto communities from the concept of taking profits. And being demonized for taking profits is extremely wrong. And not only that, but going against the grain. I don't think that it's controversial to make your own investment decisions. If you don't want to stake hex, don't stake it. If you don't, that's one of the biggest things that I see from outside the community where people are like, oh, you know why hex is a scam? Because you're incentivized to stake. So then don't stake.
You're going to have higher returns by not staking.
Yeah, exactly. You that's the point where it's like you have options to go into a liquidity pool and make more money and have liquid hex with Maxi. You have the option to stake if you want to. You have the option to stay liquid and not even involve yourself in either of them. And who is someone else to tell me what I should and shouldn't do with my own money? I don't see that as controversial at all.
Well, it's the second they do tell you what to do when you know it's becoming a manipulation factor. It's that second when they're like, you should do this because it's. But the truth is, they should be telling you to learn. They should be telling you that time in the market will give you the perspective to hold through these markets. They don't want to tell you that fucking BS because they're fucking milking the system because they understand it intimately.
Exactly.
And you don't. And they're not saying that you can't over time. But I'll tell you what, I could have used that money that I was shielded at 56 cents, at 27 cents, at whatever I bought at. I don't remember. I bought fucking pennies of fucking hex for fucking thousands and thousands of dollars.
That's what
I'm saying. I didn't bitch about it. I didn't fucking moan and complain. I learned. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm not dumping any more of my fucking cash into this shit because they told me this shit would be $1 billion. So this is where the math comes in, guys, where you fucking dum-dums. You're like, okay, so you have all these stakes, right? Let's say I have 10 T shares, right? 10 T shares is earning roughly 60 hex per day. Mm-hmm. Let's get a little bit numbery for the people. So 60 hex per day at this rate. And you're telling me, guys, all the guys that shilled me hex told me fucking hex would be, let's say, $100 in 5 years. And that's bearish for some one of these fuckers were telling me. And so that means I'm earning $6 million a day.
Yeah, I think
whatever. And they're going to tell me I don't have enough. You need to keep working 24 hours a day in DCA. They're going to continue to tell me that you need to put more money into the system so it grows and it's an ecosystem. But in the end of the day, it's just dudes buying Rolexes at the end of the thing. And we love hex for what it is, but I'm not going to act like financial assets don't get used by people that are smart as fuck because they're smart.
And so there was a couple comments that I was kind of like glancing at as we were having this conversation that I came up. There's three things here. And I want to touch on each one of them just briefly, and then we can wrap things up. Somebody, Crypto Sloth mentioned locking in the T-share rate. Cool. Good point. But then you're like, what's the point of the T-share rate? To lock in the inflation, which is another thing somebody brought up, where you're locking in inflation. Well, cool. what if I can earn a higher inflation rate than you by just providing LP? Right? You're like, and then somebody else mentions long
No,
or
fuck
short.
you. You need to be a whale.
What somebody else mentions locking in ladder and long and short. As we talked about yesterday, Hedron makes it so that there's no point in doing a short-term ladder, in my opinion.
Anymore. No, at the time there was,
but
at this point, the premium would not be there now.
It's going to keep pulling that 7-year average stake length out further and further through.
Do you think that helps the hex price overall, floor-wise?
That's a good question. So I think it helps with the, PR that Richard Hart does, because he can claim that it's something really, really special, and he can hopefully utilize that to increase adoption. And if the PR improves, and then because of PR that increases adoption, then price go up. Yes, I think that could be beneficial. In other mechanics of like, hey, I created something that has an average stake rate of 7 years, right? He'll just talk about it fucking more as it increases. And from his point of view, if he talks about shit more, it's going to increase adoption by having more people talk about it, right? So on the one hand, yes, it will help. It will help. But like the long, the short doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Hexacat brought up another comment around like, don't give other people advice on what to do with their money. Correct. Like unless somebody's asking. I'm not telling you guys to do what I'm doing. I'm just saying there's another point of view out there where you can earn more money and have your shit liquid, not be concerned about permanent loss. All of these things without staking.
And Richard would agree with you and give you a handshake and say you're a smart guy, and they all know it, and they all fucking know it. But they are too fucking stuck. You might as well be my grandmother watching the news over and over again, telling me it's just like it is in the 70s, or what it's just like it is in the 80s. Cry me a river, dude. I'm not retarded. You cannot fucking play me with your little boomer fucking games. I've been watching it since dial-up, where my grandpa was sitting there telling me dial-up was the shit. And I said, why is that noise still ringing in my ear? I don't even know what that noise is. And he said, this is the way it should be. In the DVD player, I didn't have the DVD player. I was like, why? The DVD player seems way better than that. It comes on. There's no noises. It's amazing quality. But he just said, no, change is bad. No, change is different because I invested in this stuff back then.
Right.
And I'm not willing to do the work now. I'm getting too old, and I bought all the shit that was sold to me then, and I didn't critically think enough, and I was banking on one person instead of banking on myself. This is always a you at the end of the day. It's a you market. Hex saves you from yourself for a small portion of your bag that you want to protect for the future. That is going to have increment wealth. But what do people do? They overkill it. They try to make $1 billion in a fucking day. Yeah. And then they try to say that they're the genius, and then they try to tell everyone to do the exact same thing they did. And then they wonder why people think it's a fucking Ponzi scheme. But in reality, everything's a fucking Ponzi scheme. And the truth is, the guys at the top aren't telling you the truth. And it's not Richard. Richard's not the guy that I would be pointing at here, because this is a cryptocurrency, not really like he's the founder of it. So he kind of steps off when it comes to that stuff. But the guys telling you the hardest are making the most money off of every move you fucking make. And they're 10 steps ahead of you, and they're light years ahead of you. And it takes years of studying to catch up. And once you know, it's an ugly reality.
And I post this in the chat, but I want to say it just formally. Do you know how much infighting in this community would stop if people would stop telling other people what to do with their money? This is something that I've noticed, that you're demonized if you don't stake. You're demonized if you buy Hedron. You're demonized if you buy Maxi. You're demonized if you don't have a 5-5-5-5, or if I said 5 5s or 4, I don't know, stake. Like, guys.
Or if you buy any other fucking crypto and talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be as nice as possible here and as professional as possible. You're not gonna fucking tell me what I'm gonna do with my money, and I don't care what label you want to give me. And if you want to look at me with dissent and disdain, or if you want to look at other streamers with dissent and disdain that are putting their heart into Hex and Pulse Chain and the Hex community, simply because they have a different investment strategy than you, and I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I'm not. I want to make that completely clear. I'm just speaking in generalities, because I've seen this not just in this community, but every cryptocurrency community I've ever been in, that you do realize the only thing that you're doing is alienating people who are already in the community because they have a different monetary strategy than you. Why do you care? Honestly, they're not like honestly.
Well, they don't have the foresight to realize that people with smaller bags have different perspective than them either. It's really disgusting. It's like, oh, I have $1 billion. I made it in 2 years. Just DCA all your money, do the exact same thing, and your gains will be a little bit less. And I understand that is the reality, but they don't want to tell you that. They just want to tell you you're going to have infinite money forever. But the truth is, we're going to have way more infinite money than you forever. And if this works, we're always the guys that stay up there and keep talking about it. They're just going to be richer and richer and richer. And I'm cool with that if it's the right people. But what does the internet do? The internet needs warriors like me to take motherfuckers out. Period. Like I come in, you know why guys stop tweeting when I come at them? Because there's nothing that they can say back. Because I've been 100% honest since the day I came on this bitch, and I had said everything about since the day I got arrested for the first time when I was 18 years old, and I told everyone all the way up from that story, and that's it. It was my story. Like it was just my story. I couldn't say it any different. But.
Comments. No, that's good. Corey, do you have any final thoughts here you want to tell us where people can find you? I know we talked about your YouTube channel, like Twitter. If you
can find me on Twitter at Corey Costa @CoreyCosta123. You can find me on YouTube, Corey Costa's Crypto Coins. And I just want to give a shout out again, like guys, like what I just said is not attacking anybody on what they say or what they think you should do. What I think though is that everyone should be in charge of their own financial destiny. They can take advice from other people. They could take you can take advice from other people. You could take viewpoints from other people, but I think it's very important for people to make their own financial destiny decisions, whether that be staking, whether that not be staking, that whether they go with Maxi or they go with Hedron. I don't think that it's one or the other, and I think that line that's being crossed is causing unnecessary dissent that doesn't need to happen.
I just want people to realize everyone's in a different situation. Like some of us are trying to make it, and like it wouldn't be open-minded and normal to think like there's guys in the ecosystem that are new, that are coming in, that have fresh capital, that are like hungry. And they're in a different situation. Like staking is just a tool. Like that's what I get confused with. It's like a tool. Why don't you use it like the way Richard kind of like teaches us to use it? And I think sometimes it gets a little overdriven, but it's just a tool at the end of the day. I would never tell anyone what to do with their money. And I've never told anyone ever, you need to buy Hex. I've never shooken anyone's hand and said, hey, this is your time to buy Hex. I never turned Richard Hart's thing into my business propositions.
Exactly. And you should.
It's all about education to me. It's about actually learning and giving people a chance, because that's what I'm going through. But I'm not going to sit here and watch a fucking bunch. It's just like, I just want everyone to be 100% transparent about where they're at. We're all trying our best and just trying to, like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I just want to try my best to give the right information. And I know that I'm doing a good job because all the information we're giving has really been solid so far. I haven't led anyone astray. I haven't led anyone down the right path. And everyone I've called out has been an absolute scam artist. It, like literally like all the way. So I don't know, like I'm not trying to push buttons. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to have my ego filled. But my girlfriend's extremely beautiful and she really likes me and she touches my body and makes me feel happy about myself. So I don't need to go fucking wherever to find whatever validation I need in my life. I feel like I have it. I feel like I already have that part where it's like I feel okay like that. I feel like there's so many people struggling and not enough people telling them to learn how to not struggle. They're just telling them where to park their money and just be another fucking zombie.
Yeah, and listen, like there is profit in staking. There is profit in going into Maximus. There is profit in Hedron. And the thing is that all these things can coexist together. And I think that the barriers that are created here are just unnecessary. And we are the most, unfortunately, controversial community in crypto, and everyone is against us. We don't need to be divided by these petty differences in what we do with our money. If you want to stake, God bless you, go do it. If you want to join a liquidity pool at Maxi, God bless you, go do it. You want to buy Hedron, God bless you, go do it. Like, if you want to stay liquid with your Hex or anything, God bless you, go do it.
But even Richard says these things are good, and people are like, no, they're not good. And then I'm like, wait, there's your master right there. Like, that's your little bitch. Like, he said it's good. Why are you still saying it's not good? It's like, you don't even listen to the fucking leader. Like, if you're in a cult, you're supposed to listen to the fucking leader at least. I swear to God, this guy is like, through his words, telling me like Uniswap is amazing and Hedron is extra amazing, and these are the greatest things that have ever been invented. But I can't say it because they're not my products. Like, that's literally what I can read. What do we know about Richard? He sees premium. He sees mad gains. He sees truth, and I see that in Hedron. I think there's a better chance that Richard DCA's into Hedron than tries to slow that price down, because he actually is smart and he actually knows how things move forward, and he's not a small-minded follow the leader kind of guy.
Well, we didn't even get to talk about Hedron, but Hedron, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, Corey, too, before we get rid of everything. But on the Uniswap thing, what is something that you've probably heard Richard Hart say multiple times? There's 3 ways to build wealth, right? Or 3 people who get rich: founders,
holders, and what was the third one again? I don't remember.
Exchanges. What are you effectively doing by providing LP? You are becoming an exchange.
Exactly. Yes.
If you think that Richard Hart's special and you fucking believe the fucking words that he spews out of his mouth, LP is what he's saying in those words.
I listened to him for 2 hours straight tell me Uniswap was God mode.
But he was the one who really, Hex was the thing that really made Uniswap what it is today.
And then everyone told me that
good point,
not to use it except for trading. And they're just like, but don't use it for like the whole decentralized, like no middlemen, absolute amazing technology, life-changing wealth off of parking your money. No. I don't want to learn. I want to listen. Remember, I'm talking to a bunch of listeners, not learners. I know what it's like, because when given this information to Sam, he will find the right information. There's no human element for him. It's like, yeah, they're there, but like, he's just going to find the information. So he comes back and reaffirms me that what I was feeling is correct, because it's not easy by yourself when you're on an island thinking. You're like, I could be wrong here. But when Sam comes back and Bullish comes back, and I could see the receipts, they're showing me these receipts. These are other men that have other finances, other incomes, and they're showing me these receipts, and I'm like, holy shit, this is the truth. And I swear to God, if Richard was talking out loud, this is like, if he could say whatever he wants, he has a product. So like, it changes the dynamic of his speech, in my opinion. But if he did not, and it was just free thinker, I think that he would really want to talk about how explosive Hedron's going to be with the potential for it to pull the Hex price up, and how this is how ecosystems move. And if you know about NFTs and tokenized stakes, and Richard and Alex were thinking about this from the day Hex launched. All these guys are smart as shit. You know what I mean? So they were thinking about that tokenized technology. Guys like Crypto Kool-Aid were coming on here. They were saying, we were trying to figure this stuff out 2 years ago, how to move these stakes, but nobody wants to listen to that micro detail.
Look at what Funding Jim says. Like, this is one thing. Like, Funding Jim, I hold him to a very high regard. I think Funding Jim is very zen-like, very intelligent, very smart, very open to different opinions. Always likes to build bridges. I have a lot of respect for Funding Jim. It's a differing dogma. Oh, you have it up. Okay, never mind. One is to learn.
Oh, I'll read it. It's a different dogma. One is to learn volatility and time entry and exit. And that takes time too in the market. So like, being in the market really helps you that, because I think everyone has to hold and not sell at some point a little bit, kind of like you were alluding to in your story. Okay, my bad. Entry, exit, and hype, and early hype dump to play the game. Yes, totally, like we were highlighting. Other is that all participants make ROI. Not all moon, but not many lose. That is true too. Not many lose if you act like I was day 501 in Hex. So let's do some quick math. This could probably blow some minds. So Hex has been around for double that amount of time now. So we're on day 1000 now, Sam. And when I got in, Hex was 2 cents. What is Hex today? 4 cents pretty much on the button. We have done a 2x in the double. So all those 10,000x gains, remember? All the people, all the hype, all the in the last 500 days, there has been a 2x in price action. So whatever that means to you, that's a good amount for some, 0 to others, but it's just up to you. That's the reality. Like, that's the reality when we're talking about liquid movement, bear market. That's where we're at. So it really, all these gains do become understandable to a degree when you understand, like, yeah, at the end of the day, there was 500 days went by in my life and I 2x'd. It kind of makes sense. Everything else was just a pump and dump, pretend, people playing on each other.
But there's also like the stuff around Hedron where we know somebody in common who's had a 10x plus in Hedron in the last 40 days, right?
Oh
like,
my God, my Hedron bags are disgusting. I don't even like to look at it because I'm afraid I'm going to move it and make a mistake, and I know that.
good.
But
Man.
I know how light as a feather Hedron is. It is floating on literal air. There is not. People don't understand how many, like, what you got to watch the whole thing from like launch. Like, we were watching all this. I know how many people got their bags. I know how many people sold. I know how liquid the market is. And I'm just telling you, for where we're at now, basically for the guys that are new, all these free coins came out and all this liquid market was here. And everyone that was short-sighted about it sold. And then there were some of us who are in a different position in our lives where we say, I think there's opportunity here. I think there's opportunity below here, and I think we're oversold, and I think this is an exact B-share derivative, and I think it's going to moon. And it takes time to understand that information, and that time right there is the premium. I got in 6 zeros, boom, 3. I think I did $50 buys or something for like 3. I was just throwing money there because I thought it was oversold. I was like, this is good moon bag stuff, right? Like, I was just like, oh, oversold. It's a good play. And then you see the FUD on the other way up, and you're like, now it makes sense. This is how this works. This is just a fucking market bubble ignorance. And then you just see it. Like, if we go into price discovery, which, to be honest, we're a buy away, 2 buys away, 3 buys away of people that wake the fuck up, to be honest, in my opinion. Hey, it's like some of you guys with funds. I'm not a financial advisor, but if you're not in that position yet and you want to make a big boy move, you want to learn how to be a whale, like, it's crazy though, Sam. That's the kind of market volatility we're talking about. That's kind of the piece of the pie that is open to some of these financial guys that really have capital.
I want to hear Corey's thoughts on Hedron real quick, and then we can wrap up.
Longest episode in 2 weeks, by the way. It's a great sign. That's bullish.
Sure.
Costa.
Thank you. Here's my view. I think Alex is a genius. I think Alex wrote a beautiful code. Alex made a product that complemented Hex. Alex created a community that complemented Hex. Created his own project that has its own utility while simultaneously creating creating more utility for Hex. I find immense value in Hedron. Do I hold any? I don't. But at the same time, I think the biggest issue with tribalism is that just because you don't hold something doesn't mean you can't like it, or it means you have to hate it. Like, I don't hold Hedron, but I see a bright future for Hedron. Just because I don't hold it doesn't mean I have to be doesn't mean that I have to dislike it or like it. I mean, I think Hedron's a beautiful product. I think it gives more utility to Hex stakers. I don't see a problem in that by any means. The more people who build, the more people who build, the more people create value, the more people that come into this project.
Yeah, but people want the price to just double and triple and quadruple. But once you get really nuanced with this, they know it's slowing it down. They know it's making their Hex stakes a little heavier. And it's a harsh reality to say in front of everyone. But it's like, the truth is, the addition to Hedron has no benefit to Hex stakers. I'm just going to say the words straight out. Hedron has benefit to the Hex community, the newer people that are in there, the younger people that are in there. It gives remember all that premium remember when I was digging through this information, I was saying, this doesn't make sense to me. All these rich guys are just milking these 10-day stakes. And I was looking at them and I said, could this just continue? And I was trying to extrapolate that information in my head. And then I realized Alex was already thinking about this a long time ago. And so he's extracting that premium, that thing that I was exactly looking for. He's saying, let's level the playing field. Let's go ahead and make this a different market, and make it a more flexible market, and make it a less the people at the top run the market kind of shit.
There's definitely a benefit to Hex though, just because if you have
Price, but the staking, I meant like the
okay, well,
So I'm
yes,
USD value. I just meant like the staking feature. It gives that a less premium rather than that, because remember Richard says the vast majority of the gains in Hex come from
correct.
USD price appreciation. I will spit in your face while I say it too, because Richard spelt this stuff out to me, so I'm not gonna fucking dilute his words. It's the truth. He told you, he was telling you that all the staking feature does is protect you from yourself if you need protecting. If you need protecting. Corey has been through fucking 3 cycles. He gets it. He could snooze on a 90% dumper.
That's why I bought. That's why I'm buying right now. Like that's why I bought Hex. That's why I bought Hex last night. Like that's why I keep buying Hex. Like my average price into Hex is 3 cents right now. Like I looked at my FTX and my average price in for Hex is 3 cents, and I'm going to continue to buy because I see value in Hex. And I do agree with funding Jim this volatility narrative. I think that as streamers we need to be able to say to ourselves, it's important to have a difference of opinion. It's important to have discourse, but not to be. There's a difference between discourse and division. And I think that as streamers, it's our obligation to continue to create a model for the Hex and Hedron and Maximus or Pulse Chain community.
The world.
I just want to teach people about the truth about liquid markets. I just feel like they're all being lied to. I can't. I like all this mumbo jumbo about the community. I can't. I don't. And I know what you're saying comes from your heart and everyone's heart. But at the end of the day, like this is what's happening. People want the gains from low liquidity pumping, but they don't want to take ownership that there's no liquidity in the product. So they're going to backdoor deal. And they're going to do shit like that, and they're going to one up on you. This is about people manipulating a small liquid market, and it bubbles. And Richard's literally spelling out to you, this is how you become rich in this world. You literally ride a bubble. You make so much money on that bubble that you never have to work again, and you can start working on your life because the system's rigged, kid. And nobody wants to say it out loud. And but we also have to know that the system will never learn this. This is like a high intensity alpha. So it's not like everyone and their mother's going to be drinking their tea like, oh yeah, the system's rigged. It's like, nope, just us smart guys now. So we get to decide what to do with that information now. I can lie to you, or I can fucking just put my hand on my ears and fight for freedom, because that's pretty much what I'm doing at this point. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm going.
All I know is not financial advice. Personally, for me, I'm buying Hex. I have been buying Hex. That is my bag. My 2 bags that I have right now. Again, I love Hedron. I think it has a bright future. For those who are involved in Hedron, you guys are awesome. I've interviewed many people. I actually have Sloth coming on Monday to educate me about Hedron, because I will say humbly, I don't know much about Hedron besides what I've been taught initially. But personally, for me, my only bags right now are Hex and Phantom, and Pulse Chain and Pulse X, of course. But right now, the only bags that I have actually that are released, Hex and Phantom, and Hex is clearly my biggest bag. So
yes, that's interesting. That's going to be
Hex is my biggest bag too. I think that's definitely a true statement. Hex would be my largest bag holder, but that's just personally. I think well, if depending on how, I guess all that money's burnt technically. So really, Hedron is my biggest liquid bag, because technically all my stuff is burnt on a smart contract and just ratcheting. Well, depending on how far those rates are, but that's not the point. The point is there is utility in having liquid funds, and there's utility in having staked funds, and there's utility in having wrap stakes, and there's an utility in all of these things. So don't like make yourself feel like, oh, I'm going to the Hex front end and this is exactly the thing for 15 years. And the next, no, just think this is a good move right now. I think this is a good move right now. I want to play this smart. I know that technology moves forward. I know that anything can happen. I know that China can make some fucking crazy news, and then next thing you know, we're all fucking saying we have monkeypox or whatever. Like, I know that stuff can happen, but I'm hedging in this low liquidity market the right way. You know what I mean? I think personally, by not like going all in, providing LP, earning some of these yields from these things, but not going all in into that future speculative value, because that's where all that risk lies. So it's about staying in that risk profile while earning the funds and extracting. But nobody wants to be logical about it. They want to say something about morals. They want to say something about community. That's how religious people like just trick you into fucking sucking their dicks. Like it's literally like, and I'm trying to be frank, but like I want to cut. The community thing is cool. Who's paying me? When do I get gold star? When does somebody pat Jim Rat on the back and say, here's all your glory for, I don't give a fuck. I just want to make it. And right now, and the reason I'm here is because Hex is the best thing in the business. It's the safest. It's the most secure. No middlemen. That's why I'm here. I know why I'm here. Why are you here? Look yourself in the mirror. You ask why am I here? Because I'm here because I just think this tech is the coolest thing at the time, but I am not under the impression that there are not other men that are thinking. In Richard, like I bet if Richard could say whatever he wanted, your jaw on the fucking floor broken. And Sam knows that for certain. If you had a one-on-one conversation and a couple beers with Richard, our jaws would be on the floor because he would tell us about the fucking brutal scumbaggery that goes on behind the scenes that we probably haven't like seen directly in crypto. And it would shock us, but he's not going to tell everyone that because why? Because it would scare everyone. And it's like moonbags, like, haha, he's like their mom. Like my mom's not going to tell me that people get murdered on the street. She's just going to be like, everyone's nice. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, that's not the point, guys. I truthfully am trying my best to wake up every day and do the right thing. And that's all I can say. I don't know. I'm not perfect. I fucking am crazy. I'm literally psychopath. Like, but I love my life. I tell you what, it's really a good time. I love getting better every single day. I love meeting guys like Corey. I love talking to them every single morning, and how they put up with me, I do
not know. Let's wrap this thing up with some DeFi proof. Taking us out.
I want to get that little.
Appreciate you guys for tuning in today, tomorrow, and go check out your video, Corey's video tomorrow with Sloth as well. And we'll be
I have a
back
stream
here.
in 20 minutes.
Wait, so you're going? Wait, okay, hold on. Let's definitely make sure we get people to know that. So
I'm going live in 20 minutes with Crypto Power Talk on my channel. So.
I want every fucking human in this chat to at least stop by the channel, smash the like button, hit a comment in there, say what's up, throw a bicep up to show support.
Thank you.
Get that pumping so that they can have a really good episode.
Thanks for letting me come by on your show, Jim Rat. Keep doing what you're doing. Sam Stoll, keep doing what you guys are doing. God bless. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Incredible.
Thank
you. Have a great day, guys. Amazing.
Farming with my stables in the decks. I'm holding IRA and never flex. I'm sticking all this shit on Everest. And I'm balling ECF. Farming with my stables in the decks. I'm holding IRA and never flex. I'm sticking all this shit on Everest. You see, the problem was these epochs. Now I'm printing daily, man, who need that? I check my APR on VFAT. And the regulation printing big stacks. I simple swapped it for some BNB.